I would say the first time that I heard about Dear Wellington was from one of my friends. We were on FaceTime and it just kind of happened to come up. And she said, "Have you heard about Dear Wellington?" And I was like, "No, I don't even know what you're talking about." She sent me like a screenshot of one of the posts and I read it and I had to keep reading it. I think Dear Wellington is really just giving a voice to the student body. Because before that, we really had nothing to tell everybody what we were feeling or what we were going through. It kind of gave every single student a voice without having them say exactly who they are.
I'm pretty sure their first posts were around end of June, early July. And I know we instantly started talking to each other about it, and I'm assuming a couple of us shared stories to it. I know I did.
At a PWI, a predominantly white institution like Wellington, it's important to share the experience of minorities, not just Black people, but gender identity and sexual harassment.
It kind of gave us this talk that we all needed to have, but nobody really wanted to start. So we had this talk without having to have that like uncomfortable face-to-face conversation.
It was really great that Wellington acknowledged the account, and I think Dear Wellington started a movement within the community to make Wellington a more equitable place.
It was kind of a little bit of a shock because how we've been trained socially is just kind of to keep it hush. If something has happened to you, to just move on, you know, grow up about it.
I think Wellington did a really nice job of partnering with the administrators of that account to both say, we understand that this space is needed. We are not going to, unlike other schools, immediately shut it down, to say that those experiences are not valid, even if they are not the greatest things that we want to hear. They're contradictory to what we believe. And then to partner and say, that doesn't have to be the ending spot for them.
Curriculum needs to give our kids a glimpse into the world. Sometimes it's a window, and you're seeing perspectives you've never seen and thought about. And other times, it's a mirror. You have to see yourself in that curriculum.
Female Students of Color was started about 2 years ago by some alumni, and they just wanted there to be a space for female students of color at Wellington to come and just be able to talk through any thoughts we might have about certain experiences that we've had at Wellington or outside Wellington, and also kind of that inner mentor program for upperclassmen to kind of mentor underclassmen on just how to navigate being a student of color at Wellington.
Racism, it's a bias, and it's something that people are necessarily taught as growing up. I am currently in the class of race and identity, and it kind of helps to explain to people like what exactly racism is, how it's affecting everyone, and how we can like work to move past it.
Courageous Conversations is a protocol framework that allows people to kind of dive into, engage, sustain, and deepen dialogues between individuals around the topic of race.
We use something called serial testimony, which is an opportunity to create a democracy of time. We actually use a timer and give everybody the same amount of time to respond. SEED is different from other professional growth opportunities in terms of DE&I because it's more personal. Participants get a chance to delve more into their own biases, their own journey, their own work. They can kind of go at their own pace to some extent.
We've started the school year with 10th graders by going over that protocol with them. So Craig and I and Catherine do that together so that when they're in the classroom, they can start to engage in that courageous conversation. We all have common terminology. So by staying engaged, we remind them at the beginning of class, let's remember, stay engaged, speak your truth, experience discomfort, and expect and accept non-closure.
GSA, also known as Gay Strain Alliance, and it's just kind of a place for people to open up and be who they are. And I think GSA, it's kind of like a safe haven for people.
Not only do we talk about Black voices during the month of February, as the nation does, but we have done and continue to do is incorporating those quote-unquote other voices in history and other voices or experiences into the curriculum. We currently offer African American history as well as a separate set of electives, which we're hoping can incorporate into our history program a little more. And then I take that lens a little further in the theater. I offer different lenses on theater history.
And back home. And remember our force, we drive it up on the diagonal and power, so wow.
Being in school in a pandemic, having the events that sparked the Black Lives Matter protests continually happen, and just being in an environment that is uncertain. Not only does the school just need an injection of joy, but especially those special populations within, so our African American students, our Black faculty members, our Black families, taking this time and saying, hey, we see you, we hear you, and good God, we want to celebrate you in this time.
How do we get kids to speak their truth, to engage, to sit in discomfort, to know that having non-closure is the norm? But at the end, we're all Jags. We all are here, we're humans who are taking care of each other. And how can we be hard on ideas, but soft on people?
So often with Black History Month, we're focusing on the struggle that has happened instead of the celebration of great things. So shifting that lens, I really love that. I love that they've decided to expand the time period, so it's not just February. It starts on MLK Day and runs all the way through February, giving it a little more time, and giving the faculty the opportunity to think, how can I contribute to this too? I said, why am I not doing something at the start of all of my classes? So I've started to pick out pieces from novels, poems, things like that, to just read right at the beginning of my class, starting next week.
For any of us individually as well as Wellington collectively, diversity, inclusion, equity, these are not things that we check off on a list and say we're done. It is work that continues, and I expect it to continue for the rest of my life.
We're not alone. We've got allies. We've got people who are stepping up to the charge and saying, you know what, take a break. I got this.
We have a space that kids feel safe to be able to talk about issues that they really need to talk about.
I want to believe that the students we come in contact with, the students we teach this protocol with, that and practice and engage, right, somewhere down the line, in some way, it's going to create change in society.